David Mucci might have been destined to become a trusted mentor to KU student leaders, because he was once in their shoes. Years before he arrived on the Hill in 1999, David was elected student body president at the University of Kentucky. The role prepared him well to counsel a succession of KU students who participated in student senate, student union activities, and KJHK radio.
Mucci has always been one to support others, to prompt others up, encourage them, take the things that he believes are the best qualities and amplify them in many, many ways. So his forefront was always, how do I make the union work? How do I make it work for students, which was his primary goal in that director. And then what can I do to make sure this facility is taken care of, serves the university, and has longevity even when I'm not here.
One of the things that was so striking was, the student component was so strong. David Ambler and his professionalism and what he had built up here in terms of campus life, was irrefutably good. Staff, and I think you see this, or you did at the time, there were so many staff members, the longevity and loyalty and commitment and skill levels of that staff.
Under Mucci's leadership, the union completed ambitious renovations that modernized the Jayhawk Boulevard landmark while preserving traditions and amplifying the history of KU.
I remember David Mucci introducing me to an enthusiastic graduate student of history named Henry Fortunato, who had this concept for a history project, a research project, and David Mucci bid on it hook, line, and sinker, and was all in. That ultimately became the KU History Project, a series of articles that talked about what happened on this day in KU history, as well as history panels, ultimately artifacts, and it took on a life of its own. That would not have happened without somebody like David Mucci, who would embrace that idea and see its full potential, and then carry it in a way that it could benefit all Jayhawks.
He also oversaw dramatic growth in programs at the new Birds Union and the DeBruce Center on the Lawrence campus. And he helped establish union programs to serve students on the Edwards campus in Overland Park, as well as KU Medical Center campuses in Kansas City and Wichita.
Well, one thing that struck me when I first got to know David was that he is and was the consummate team player for KU. When KU was building the brand new Birds Union, the finish out for the kitchen facilities was going to cost several $100,000, which the union did not have, but was expected to pay. And rather than object or complain about that, David just said, we'll find a way to make it work. And he was constantly doing things like that for KU that nobody ever realized or even had a chance to appreciate.
We were instrumental in the opening of the acquiring really of the property that became Jayhawk Central at the Edwards campus. That was their first student center. We took on projects at the Med Center in Kansas City and at Wichita. We were asked to do it and we stepped into it. So to me that I think is emblematic of how the union has always worked, which is how do we build community, how do we serve the institution, and how, in these cases, how do we also help with student lives?
Mucci also led the repurposing of the J Bowl for students in architecture and graphic design, the transformation of the KU bookstore, and the opening of the South Dining Commons. Through the years, he provided vital employment opportunities for hundreds of students.
He will fight for what he believes in. Me and him had a tussle around the J Bowl, which was a bowling alley for students at the University of Kansas. When he first became the Memorial Union director, he thought he could turn that space into something else. I said, no, we're gonna go bowling, and we got into it in a very awesome way. And I ended up winning that fight, just to make it clear. Though he won that fight about a decade later, he got rid of the bowling alley. But again, that's who he is. He has a vision, but he does it with students. He does it with people, and he refines that vision based on the feedback he's hearing. He makes sure that vision is something that works for everybody.
It started with the expectations that students came to KU, with high expectations, and part of it is I'm here, I want to participate, I want to contribute. I came to the realization that, I'd really fallen into a wonderful opportunity and, hope that I might prove capable enough to stay for a while and make a difference.